Michael Carter walked into the conference room with the same steady calm he had carried for years. He was in his mid-40s, gray showing at the temples, shoulders relaxed, eyes observant. The kind of man who had learned long ago that raising his voice never fixed anything. He had been with Northline Logistics since the beginning, back when the company operated out of a rented office in downtown Chicago with mismatched chairs and cheap coffee. Michael helped build everything from the ground up, not because he wanted credit, but because someone had to make sure things worked. He stayed late when systems failed. He showed up on weekends when everyone else turned off their phones. He held the company together when no one was watching. That morning felt different. The room was too quiet. The air felt heavy. Strong cologne mixed with tension. Around the table sat managers, planners, analysts, ordinary people with mortgages, aging parents, college savings on their minds. Standing near the glass wall was Ethan Brooks, the new operations director, the founder's son. Young, confident, expensive suit. He paced as if the room belonged to him. Ethan began talking about change, about speed, about the future, about cutting what no longer added value. Michael listened without interrupting. When he finally spoke, his voice was calm and measured. He said the operation was stable, that they had just completed a major update without disruption, that this was not the moment to pull apart what was holding everything together. Ethan smiled, but it was thin and rehearsed. He said stability was an excuse, that the company needed bold movement, that what Michael built was old thinking. Old. The word landed hard. Michael thought about the night sleeping on an office couch, about missed birthdays, about the winter storm years ago when he kept the company running while the city shut down. Still, he didn't argue. He explained that careless change could collapse everything, that you don't rebuild a house by tearing out the foundation first. Ethan stopped pacing. He rested his hands on the table and delivered what had already been decided. There would be a restructuring. Outside advisors would be brought in, and Michael's role was no longer needed. No longer needed. Silence filled the room. David, Michael's closest teammate, went pale. No one spoke. No one dared. Ethan kept talking, wrapping the decision in soft words. He said it wasn't personal, that it was simply progress. Michael stood slowly, felt his knees ache slightly, felt a strange calm settle in his chest. He asked if this was effective immediately. No transition, no handover. Ethan nodded. Security had already been notified. Michael would need to hand over his badge and laptop. This wasn't just termination, it was a public message. Michael looked around the room. He saw fear. He saw relief. He saw arrogance. He picked up his bag without rushing. He didn't plead. He didn't argue. As he reached for his badge, his phone vibrated on the table. The sound cut sharply through the silence. Michael glanced down. It was a call he did not expect, from someone he knew well. And in that quiet moment, without anyone realizing it yet, the story began to turn. The phone kept vibrating, stubborn and loud in the quiet room. Ethan frowned and told Michael to turn it off. Personal calls, he said, could be handled outside. Michael didn't answer. He looked at the screen again. The name wasn't random. It was Daniel Wright, Chief Technology Officer at a major logistics company based in Dallas, a direct competitor. They had met years earlier at industry events, exchanged ideas, earned each other's respect. Daniel had tried more than once to recruit Michael. Michael always declined. Northline felt like home. Until that moment. Michael calmly answered and placed the call on speaker. Daniel's voice filled the room, clear, urgent. He asked if Michael was truly available, said his company was facing a serious operational problem, said no one on his team could solve it, said Michael was the only person who understood systems like that. Ethan laughed, short and sharp, assumed it was an act, a performance to save face. Daniel continued. He said they needed Michael immediately, that an offer could be sent within minutes, that the compensation would be significantly higher, that there would be equity, autonomy, trust. The atmosphere shifted. This was no longer awkward. It was unsettling. Michael looked at Ethan and spoke evenly. He said he had just been terminated, that he was free. Daniel didn't hesitate. "Then we're done talking," he said. "I'll send the contract now." Michael thanked him, ended the call, and placed the phone face down on the table. He didn't open the email. He didn't need to. Ethan tried to regain control, said it didn't mean anything, that big companies call lots of people, that Michael was just good at networking. No one believed him. Michael took a slow breath. He explained that critical decisions flowed through him, not because of ego, because of responsibility. Ethan snapped back that everything was documented, that processes were written down, that anyone could step in. A young engineer named Emily raised her hand, visibly nervous. She explained that certain access permissions were tied to Michael's phone. Without them, emergency fixes couldn't be made. Ethan lost patience, said they would figure it out, said no one was irreplaceable. That's when Michael understood something clearly. They didn't know what they were dismantling. He removed his badge, shut down his laptop, slid them across the table carefully. He said he was leaving and wished them luck. As he reached the door, David stood up in panic, reminded them that the primary access system was linked to Michael's device. Without it, the company would be exposed. Ethan ordered him to transfer it immediately. Michael turned back slowly. He explained he could not. His termination was official. Any access now would be illegal. Ethan shouted that he authorized it. Michael stayed calm. He reminded Ethan that such authorization violated internal rules Ethan himself had imposed, that insurance and contracts would be lost. Ethan, red with anger, told him to get out. Michael left. The hallway felt longer than ever. He passed offices he had helped build. He heard the low hum of machines still running. Everything was working, for now. Outside, rain had started to fall. Michael sat in his old sedan and closed the door. He exhaled deeply. He opened the email for the first time, read the offer, allowed himself a quiet smile. Inside Northline, something unseen had already begun to shift. Slow, silent, unforgiving. The first days after Michael's departure felt deceptively normal. No alarms, no failures, no urgent calls. That was the illusion of well-built systems. When something is designed with care, it keeps moving for a while, even without its creator. But that grace period always ends. Michael had already relocated to Dallas. His new office was bright. People asked questions before making decisions. They listened. For the first time in years, he felt respected. Still, he knew what was coming. Back in Chicago, Ethan pushed hard for rapid changes. He approved system resets, authorized updates during peak hours, followed advice from consultants who spoke confidently but lacked depth. They saw diagrams. Michael had known the pulse. On Thursday afternoon, minor delays appeared. Nothing dramatic, just enough to be ignored. Friday was different. Delivery times slipped. Drivers called in confused. Customer complaints stacked up. David tried to intervene, warned that certain updates should never be run during live operations, explained that one error could cascade across the entire network. Ethan dismissed him, accused him of resisting change, told everyone to proceed. Minutes later, the system went dark. There was no explosion, no dramatic crash, just silence. Maps vanished, routes dissolved, trucks stopped mid-delivery with no guidance. Social media erupted, angry customers, public complaints, support lines overwhelmed. Inside Northline, panic took over. Ethan yelled orders. Consultants contradicted each other. No one could trace the failure. They called vendors. Access was incomplete. They searched backups. Critical permissions were locked. Late that night, David sent a short message to Michael. One word: blackout. Michael read it, said nothing. He knew exactly what had happened, which decision caused it, how to fix it within hours. He also knew something else. Northline chose to move forward without him. Now it had to face the consequences. Saturday was worse. Key clients suspended contracts, press coverage turned hostile, years of trust unraveled in public. By Monday morning, legal pressure arrived. Michael received a formal notice. Northline accused him of withholding information, of intentionally damaging the company. Michael remained calm, prepared his response carefully. He explained the termination, the lack of transition, the documented handover of all materials. He stated clearly that nothing was missing. What they lacked was understanding. He ended with one final point. Any further assistance would require a consulting agreement with terms and compensation reflecting the risk. Inside Northline, fear replaced arrogance. Ethan stopped speaking. The board convened in emergency session. For the first time, Michael's name was not spoken with contempt. It was spoken with urgency. The man they called obsolete had become their last option, and time was running out. The message Michael received the next morning felt different. No accusations, no legal threats. It was a request. Robert Wilson, the founder of Northline Logistics, asked to meet. Not through lawyers, not through his son, just a conversation between two people who once built something meaningful together. They met at a small diner near downtown Chicago, a place unchanged by time. Worn booths, strong coffee, quiet dignity. Robert looked older than Michael remembered. The crisis had aged him quickly. He spoke plainly. The company was on the edge of collapse. Major clients were leaving. The board was considering removing Ethan. Nothing functioned without Michael's guidance. Michael listened without interruption. Robert offered him his old position back, with authority, with equity, with an apology. Michael shook his head gently. He said he would not return as an employee, not after how things had ended. But he didn't stand up. He said he could help, not for the company's pride, but for the people inside it, for the drivers, for the families depending on those paychecks. He laid out his terms: a short consulting engagement, full control during the recovery, fair compensation, and ownership of the solution he rebuilt. Robert hesitated only briefly, then agreed. That same night, Michael walked back into the Northline building, empty, quiet, stripped of confidence. He sat at the terminal and began working. No anger, no revenge, only experience. Hour by hour, he restored what had been broken, corrected permissions, stabilized routes, simplified what others had overcomplicated. By Sunday morning, the system was live. Deliveries resumed. Clients calmed. The company survived. Michael left without ceremony. Days later, Ethan was removed from leadership. Northline continued operating, but differently, more cautious, less arrogant. Michael stayed in Dallas. In his new role, his voice mattered, his experience was valued, his judgment trusted. Someone later called what happened revenge. Michael smiled quietly, said it was not revenge. It was consequence. Because what is built with care can be ignored, it can be dismissed, but it cannot be erased. If this story made you think, share in the comments what you would have done in his place, and follow the channel for more stories where experience still matters.